All right. Well, hello, hello, hello. We are the Three Wise Pet Pros. What day is this? Tuesday. Yeah. The Three Wise Pet Pros coming to you on a Tuesday. We know it's a little early, but this time change has us all kind of doing something. Yeah. So we're going to shake it off and keep on rolling. So we have Miss Vet Tech Tony, pet extraordinaire. She does all things with pets, walking them. She said earlier, I just need to walk a dog. Give me 20 more minutes. Yeah, so she is our pet extraordinaire. And then we have Dr. Kroom, Army vet, mobile veterinarian, um, here with us. And we have me, little old me, um, in home border and Cane Corso breeder. And so that's who we are, the Three Wise Pet Pros. So tonight, our topic is designer cats and dogs, designer pets. What is that all about? What's that all about? You got anything to say about that, Dr. Tanera?
I do. Thank you, Nicole, and great to see everybody. Yeah, designer pets. What's that all about? Sounds kind of, I don't know, like sci-fi. Like designer pets. Like we're going in the lab and we're about to start mixing up. Well, that's basically kind of what it is in some of these instances.
Uh-huh.
Designer, using that word kind of makes it seem maybe a little less serious than it really is and can be, because getting in there, messing with the genetics of pets, that's something that you want to be educated on before you start getting in there willy nilly. But I will say, based on the history of animal genetics being mishmashed, we humans, we definitely have been doing the most over the past like
Yeah.
decades, creating certain breeds or strains that maybe their body parts aren't really meshing well together, or creating some type of a disability for that breed, and so that's been
Yeah.
happening. But there can also be some positives as well to the designer um, topic. We know that there are a lot of responsible breeders out there. So yeah, so there's some pros and cons, and that's what we're here to talk about: designer pets in general. um, and Ms. Vete Tony, if you got a napkin over there, I'll ask you the next question. Like, um, so why don't we go ahead and maybe say a little something about dogs and cats and how they can be shimmied and changed and genetically altered.
Right, right. So, Mr. Crazy Air Holmes says, "Hello, ladies." He said he
Hello.
loves this subject. So, with that being said, thank you for joining us tonight, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Holmes. So, in mixing breeds, so obviously, we have designer dogs. I mean, that's probably one of the main ones that you hear about, see about social media. Dog shows is like, I mean, they have their own dog show because they can't go to the
Yeah.
other one because they mix. They made this breed. So, like, the bully is the bully specifically that I can think of. The bully breeds, pit
Yeah.
bulls is like, like for the shoulders and the wide span. Um, it's a little bit controversial when you start conversating with certain people about it, and then you have another conversation with somebody else. The wider, the stockier, the better. Um, I'm gonna stay silent on that one. Um, it's
Yes.
it's definitely interesting to hear different people. But what I do love about the breeders who breed for the bully breeders, they're 100% passionate about it. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Like they are 100% love their dogs. And, I can't ask anything more as a pet professional. Like
That's true.
people who care about their dogs and their pets.
Well, I wanted to add a little bit to what you were saying, Tony, because just to kind of get a visual of some of the changes that have happened in some of the dog breeds over time with changes in genetics. So let's say this is a certain breed. and it's basically the perfect size for all of its body parts. You know, the legs are proportional to its body length, and you know, everything is squared away so that, you know, there's no imbalances. Then
Yeah.
we come in and we're like, you know what? I really like the way this other breed's ears hang. Instead of being floppy, they're up, right? So maybe there's
Yeah.
one trait that we're trying to, you know, work with, but a lot of times, so you can't just hit that one gene, especially if you're not in
Yeah.
the actual lab with the DNA strands, right? So we
Right.
do this dog with this dog, and then we come up with a dog that maybe now he's much shorter, right? We know that
Right.
with the bully breeds that you brought up recently, Tony, they're always looking for more, the more smaller the better, it seems like, you know, just real squat and just so cute. And like they put it up next to an iPhone, and they're like, it's only this big, it's 8 months old, and he's
Yeah.
this big, you know. And I see that a lot. And I know, like you said, that's that passion they have and that pride that they have in their productions. But it can cause issues potentially. You know, maybe the body length is still the same, but now the legs are shorter. Now things are going to be off balance. Now the joint spaces aren't going to be articulating the way they should necessarily. So just something to think about as we're talking about designer dogs and cats, that the human, you know, injection of change hasn't always been great, but I think there probably have been some positives to it as well in the past. So I want to have a little visual aid there. But while we're talking about dogs, let's get a little bit more into this topic. Nicole, maybe you can start us off, because you being having breeds, yeah, you have a certain breed, but you interact with others with other breeds as well too with your boarding. So you want to tell our audience a little bit about what the differences are between these terms?
Well, mutts are, of course, those dogs that kind of their parents and their parents and their parents were something else, and they were just kind of out there. And hey, you ready? Yeah, let's rub some fur. Let's rub some paws, and you know, I have a lot of my clients are mutts, and they are wonderful dogs. They really are. But when I think of mutts versus designer dogs, the designer dogs take specific dogs and put them together on purpose. I know there are some Corso breeders that will mate a Corso with the Neo. I won't say how I feel about that, but you know, with the Neo being a lot heavier, there can be some major issues where the Corso already has hip issues, can have hip issues. When you add that Neo into it, it could cause more problems. The purebred dogs are the ones that, you know, I'm in a group called Purebred Snobs on Facebook, and it can get pretty snooty on there because they want to know. Let me see your German Shepherd dogs, your well-bred German Shepherd dogs, and you can put your picture up there, and they will tell you whether or not your German Shepherd dog is well-bred. So the purebreds are the dogs where breeders have looked at a dog and said, okay, perfect bite, perfect stance, the hocks are in the right place. Excuse me. And they made it with another dog that has these perfect qualities. So
Right.
sorry.
Okay.
But that's all I have.
I'm like, shake your arms up in the air.
So put in the chat if you're with us tonight. Put in the chat what's your favorite. Do you like a mutt? Because usually people have a preference. They'll be like, give me my mutt, okay? I don't need it to look any certain kind of way. I just want it to be free from disease, you know, because they, you know, there's a myth, or maybe I don't know if it's truth or if it's a myth of whether mutts, you know, have less problems,
Right.
disease processes or not.
Well, my household consists of Raoul being a Yorkie Lasso. And in the face, he looks like the Yorkie, and then his body definitely represents the Lasso. Like he looks like a Benji when he has long hair. When he's, and then Kaya is a red-nosed Staffordshire. So those are both mixed breeds, but not too far off in their breeding.
Yeah.
Or, their kind that they are. But then there is Cowrie, who's AKC registered, and they better not be talking about my German Shepherd. But yeah, mixed breeds. I don't have a preference. I just want all doggies to be loved. Now, I will say this: there are some dogs that I probably just would never have.
Yes,
I love you with your cane corso, but I probably would never have one because, oh my God, slobbering.
Oh gosh, no. Yeah, slob. Yes.
Pass.
Yeah. Like, come wash my face.
Maybe
I didn't get a chance to wash my face earlier. Could you come and do it for me?
Right.
And some people don't like really tiny dogs.
Oh, I do not. I
really didn't have a preference before I got Mayo, but now I'm really into the medium-sized dogs. It's not a little dog that you could use on your ankle. Well, she does go for ankles, but she's not like an ankle biter per se. Well,
right.
Yeah, she kind of is, but
she's not a tiny horse either.
Right. She's not tiny and she's not a horse. She's that nice medium size, like 40 pounds. Like, I'm like, okay, big enough to get somebody, boom, if they need to, or but also still small enough to, fit into places, get in the car, let's go quick, get in the seat, stuff like that.
But she's also, I would say, probably 95% sure that she's purebred.
Mayo?
Yeah.
She is mixed.
She is?
Okay. She's mixed with two Australian Shepherd and cattle dog. She's or maybe terrier and cattle dog, but it's definitely a mixture there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, she looks really good. I mean, she looks like a cattle dog. So
yeah, she does. But her color, cattle dogs are typically also called blue heelers because they have that bluish tinge to them. But
right.
She doesn't have. She has a tan coat that's indicative of a mixture in there. Oh man, what's Robert saying over here?
Like a whole bunch.
It's yes. You wrote a blog. Okay. Robert Crazy Air Holmes likes this subject because designer pets in general are the future of pets. Dogs, cats, fish, and even reptiles. We were going to get into that a little bit, but we decided to speak to dogs and cats today. But some breeding, you can lose genetic issues. So you could lose some things that you want to lose. And then also they can be made worse or create new defects. And he said, I have two dogs. One is great. And the other has dog mental problems, I'm sure. Man. So yes, thank you, Robert. We appreciate that. We love this topic too. And hopefully if you're joining us now or on the replay, you can let us know what you prefer to. Put it in the chat. Do you like mutts? Do you prefer a purebred dog? Are you all into seeing what we can do designer-wise to mix it up? We want to hear from you.
So I know we talked a lot about the dogs, and then you think about cats. There are definitely people who have cats and their breeding. They're pretty. I think they fall under the category of snooty, just off the top. They don't have to be in a group. They're just cats. How do I want to say that? So you have. I don't even know any. Oh, that little ragdoll cat.
Oh yeah,
probably a cat I wouldn't have, just because it's kind of the Frenchies or the pugs with the smashed face.
Yeah.
So nasal issues from a dog. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have one of those either. But then in a cat, no,
definitely not.
I'm gonna need it to. I'd rather have a little lion. I want it to look I wanted to have a snout or a face. I wanted to have features of a cat.
Yeah.
Like when I look at it, I know that it's a cat.
Right.
Not, is that a rabbit? Is that a guinea pig? But then there's a Maine Coon, which is a beautiful cat. Those are usually in weight. I've seen them at 22 pounds. They look like a small dog in size, but they definitely look like a cat. The hair on them is really long. So when you think about breeding cats, their maintenance is a big one. You know, you talked about the health maintenance and the features that they lose, but then there's also like the outside features as well. Like, you know, the hair, the face, the ears, the eyes. Like then there's a skinless cat. I mean, not the skinless cat. Oh my goodness. Now we just got a skeleton cat.
The hairless cat.
The hairless cat. I know one young lady who had one, and she just absolutely adored that cat. And I was just like, people really do love their pets of all kinds, no matter what they look like, what the breed they are. And that is all that like I said earlier, all I can ask is no matter what features that it is that you look for in your fur baby.
Yeah. Because how do you rub a hairless cat?
The same way.
The same way.
No hair. I mean, that's going to be good for those with allergies. I don't know if you just mentioned that,
yeah.
But sometimes the genetic changes are to benefit the humans again. Something like that. The doodles. I don't know if you talked about the doodles. If so, I was a little distracted there. I'm like, did she just say this? But I know for sure that the doodles is a big thing with people not wanting dogs that shed that much. So they wanted that poodle aspect.
They mixed the doodle with everything.
With everything. And I have a friend that is a poodle breeder. And anytime I ask her about any kind of doodle, she's like, oh, no, that should not be done. No, you tell them that. No. She hates it. Like,
that's exactly what you get when you start mixing breeds, and then you talk to like someone who has an original breed. Just like your opinion of what you said, the Neo and the Cane Corso. Yeah, just like even though it might be visually cute, are you really thinking about the longer term effects, like some of the features that Dr. Kroon, Dr. Chenier was saying? You know, like just overall health, and everything is not always about beauty or the look. Right. You should think about the what can happen in the long term, because in some situations I've talked to breeders where, you know, they've asked me, so what happens if, you know, like like internal things, heart issues, like cleft lips, like things, all these different things can happen when you start mixing genetics.
Yeah.
And are you prepared for the end result? You know, are you ready to care for that pet no matter what happens and what it looks like when it gets here? You know, we as humans automatically do that. Like, feel like that's my baby no matter what, you know, family, we love on them no matter what happens. You know, we pray that, you know, all are healthy, but we take care of them. But are we doing that for the animals too when they come in and look different, when you've made the decision to try to make something look different? All right. Yeah. I don't want to get too political on a political night. So.
That's true. Hope everyone got their ballot in the box.
Yeah.
Happy voting day to you. Well, I guess this is probably about it. Hopefully you all enjoyed this topic as much as we did. You know, with animals, we talk about so many different things. We might come back around and talk about this again another time. But for now, we just thank you for being here with us. We appreciate your time. And feel free to put some more information in the chat if you're watching this on the replay, if you prefer, you know, the mutts, the purebred or designer. What do you
Hey,
prefer
Sandra.
and why? Hey,
Hey,
Sandra Reese.
Yes.
Hey, that's our Detroit gal. Okay. Well, we are here now every other week, so we won't be here next Tuesday, but we will be here the Tuesday after that, and we will be reminding you of that as well. In the information under this post or above this post, you'll see a link. Come join our Facebook group or our Facebook page, our community. If you can, we'd love to see you in there. And other than that, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Peace.
Bye.
Peace and love.